Hello, everyone out there in the digital land. It is Light the Torch ceremony for the Wandering Heart, and I have the fabulous author here. Dani James, can you please tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, and the background for this book?
Yeah, sure. So, whew, my book is loosely based on my traumatic brain injury that I had
Yes.
10 years ago. So
Wow.
it's a very personal story.
Yes.
And the whole reason that I felt to put it on pages and for people to read was I talked about this story multiple times on podcasts when I've been
Mhm.
on those, and I
Mhm.
saw how inspiring it was for the people. And
Mhm.
that's when I realized that I should make this into a book because not everyone learns in the same way, the same format. Some people are better with reading, some people are better listening, and yeah,
Yeah,
so this makes it that there are all different kinds of people that can now check it out.
I love it.
Mm,
So, um, why don't you tell everybody where you're from, where you're at now?
mhm. Yeah, so originally I'm from South Dakota in the US, but nowadays and for 7 years I've been living in Sweden. The lovely, lovely Sweden.
Quite a culture and environment change.
Very sure.
Okay, so now let's talk really about this book. I mean, obviously, you're doing it to inspire others and to help other people better understand, maybe even themselves in the way that they're thinking. But tell me a little bit more about the book and its messaging.
Yeah, so this book, as I said, loosely based on my traumatic brain injury. Now, I have it written in first person because
Mhm.
I want to bring people on my healing journey with me, and I want them to go and experience all the things that I had to go through,
Mhm.
plus my past, which is a bit unconventional kind of life. And the reason
Mhm.
I write it like this is because I feel if someone's fully submerged into it,
Mhm.
they can feel like they were there or feel like they're going through it themselves, which it becomes, in a way, a learning process in that sense. And then also from this book, I've created a 12-week coaching course
Okay.
where I'm going to be having a group of people that I'm going to have come together, and then I break down each chapter, whereas they have things that they can take away from it. Um, because since it is written in first person, it might be a little harder to grasp all the tools and modalities and things that I had learned over my healing process.
Okay. Well, that seems very helpful. So, if you're listening out there, I hope you understand that she's telling you she has an entire course. So, if you read through this book and you think, oh my gosh, this makes a whole lot of sense to me, or I think that I would like to, really walk through this journey or learn from this path, you definitely need to be reaching out to Dani and connecting because maybe you can be part of this course that she's doing or a future course.
Mhm.
So, what is really the messaging, but what's the takeaway that you're hoping a reader takes away from this book, The Wandering Heart?
Yeah. I I want people to be able to see that they can overcome almost anything in life. And it really comes down to our mindset and the outlook on our lives and whatever we're going through. I mean, I overcame a traumatic brain injury where I had to relearn how to walk and use my
Yes.
brain and all these other things. And yes,
Mhm.
it's now been 10 years since that. It took 7 years to feel almost fully healed from it. And that was
Wow.
no easy feat, that is for sure. And so, writing this book, I want to show people that I did it and you can
Mhm.
do it too. You just got to believe in yourself and you have to stay positive, even when it looks so bad. That
Mhm.
always is always going to have some obstacles here and there, but you have to believe that it will get better or there's something to learn from it. Because there's law of polarity. It's one of the universal laws out there. And with this law, there's always good with the bad, and
Sure.
same with the other way around. But it comes to us what we focus on. So
Mhm.
for me, my traumatic brain injury, I actually saw that as a gift. And people
Wow.
just look at me a little crazy about it. But it's like at that moment when that accident happens,
Mm.
I I just realized that I didn't want to keep doing what I was doing in the past. I didn't want to keep being a weed farmer. I didn't want to
Yeah.
keep working for someone else. I realized that I wanted to work for myself and that I wanted not to be alone anymore. And so I left like the party life and all that behind and started pushing myself forward to get better and then realize what I truly wanted to do with myself.
Wow. Yeah, sometimes we don't realize that something that might seem so horrible was really exactly what needed to happen in our life to make us wake up and realize our true potential. And sometimes it's hard. I mean, whether it be, a traumatic brain injury or whether it be a divorce or whether it be losing a loved one or, flunking out of college or like something that you think, oh my gosh, I never thought I'd be down, this road, losing a profession that you had, um, getting terminal cancer, getting any type of traumatic life altering event, any one of them could pick up the book and still follow the guidance that you're offering here. Or I think what's also a good perspective too is like you said, a lot of people don't understand. So maybe even if you are a loved one or a caretaker for someone who's going down this journey, this might be a great book for you too, to really fully understand how to create that mindset space for that person. So I think there's lots of, healing and lots of growth that people could find in this book. Um, so I commend you for being so honest and authentic and real to be willing to share the journey that you went down and say, hey, if I can do it, you can do it. And not only can you do it, but I'm willing to help you. That's what I love about the course you mentioned. That's so awesome that you're saying, okay, let's take it a step further. You've read
Hmm.
this, you've found hope, you found inspiration. Now let's put it to work, right? Let's actually do it. So what an amazing gift that you're willing to offer and to give out. And I love the messaging and the background behind it, right? Like you're not just saying, "Hey, I've seen people do this." This is like actually what you did. So in that process of healing and growth for you in those 7 years that were extremely challenging on trying to get back to, a functioning level that you felt was good, was where you wanted to be. Um, what about you? Were there books or things that motivated you, that helped you, that you've pulled from and that has helped your journey and maybe you even use, um, in this book?
Yeah. So as I was healing, my brain was not fully there.
Mm,
And it wasn't until a couple years ago that someone reached out to me when I was doing one of the podcasts and they said, "Oh, did you reach out to Facebook groups for traumatic brain injuries?" And I spaced that. I didn't even think about looking for that because when you have a brain injury, that's like the
mhm.
last thing you're thinking of is thinking of things or
Yeah.
or ways to help yourself really. So what happened with me was I actually listened to my inner self. And it was I think 3 days after a coma coming out of there, I heard
Mhm.
this inner voice say, "This is but a moment." And then that's what drives me to keep pushing forward. And then it was, I think, a couple
Mhm.
years yeah, these last couple years that I actually looked more into mindset and how important it is. So I actually started studying at Procter and Gallagher Institute. And so I've been studying and studying and studying every day with that. And I've learned tremendous amount of stuff. And that is something that I've also put in this book because I see how how much potential it has to help so many. And I
Wow.
realized that I was kind of doing some of it that I was learning now
Mhm.
that I just subconsciously was doing in the past to help myself. And then I've also have had a few different other mentors here and there that have helped me with spiritually, mentally, and helped me realize how important it is physically. So that's why I've also become a mind and body coach, because I realize just how important mind and body are with
Yeah.
keeping them connected and healing, because that was what I learned on my journey as well as I healed.
Wow. That is amazing. And I don't even know how to imagine the road you walk down, to not only heal from that, but to take it one step further and say, I'm going to expand my mindset and understand how my mind works and how it interacts with my body and my soul, and how can I control those things. Most people would give up or just be willing to accept being able to walk again, or being able to talk again, or being able to eat again. And it's a journey. I know back in 2012 my husband had a major surgery, and we didn't really know going in like how long that recovery time was going to be, and it didn't take nearly 7 years, but just those literally 8 months of watching him trying to learn, like you said, to walk again and eat again the right way, and even process information, was long and hard. I can't imagine doing it for 7 years, because I know those were probably the longest 8 months of our life. um and we still have, little hiccups and battles, even now, every day sometimes. Um, but it did forever change our mindset and our perspective of life, right? Like you said, you knew from that point on, like, you wanted something different. It had to be different. And it does. Sometimes when life slaps you in the face like that, it changes the way you look at things forever. So but I love that you've put a positive spin on it, that you said be positive, continue in a positive manner. And it really is all the way that you look at things that really determines your outcome. So, commend you for that and for this amazing book. So, if you're out there wondering, how do I make this hard change? How do I accept this hard change? Whatever it may be, it doesn't have to be as, big as what Dani has walked through, but we all walk through things. I know I had a cousin tell me one time, because she had been walking through a lot. And I'm like, I really don't know how you do it. And she said, well, I don't know how you do it. She's like, but the reality is, all of us have our plates of life. And some of us are really good about stacking our plates high, and other ones have just a hard time walking across the room with a plate with less on it. And that made so much sense to me, because I could then imagine it, like, it's true. Some of us are designed to carry more than others, but it doesn't undermine what that other person is carrying, right? It's that struggle might be just as big for them as it was when we had our plates completely overflow with items, right? So understanding that everybody has, their own capacity of what they can accept or handle, but realizing that it's possible. So I like how you said, for people to understand that it's possible, because if you could go through all of this, they can go through what they're going through. And staying positive and not, undermining what they are going through. But The Wandering Heart is a beautiful book of survival and thriving and overcoming, that anyone could get inspiration and motivation from. And please get your copy, read the ebook, leave a review, reach out to Dani. She'd love to hear from you. Absolutely would love to hear from you. And if you feel like, this is someone who could actually seriously help me and understand me and identify with me, this is what she does now. She helps others. So reach out to her. She is very visible across all the platforms. Just Google her name and you will find her, right?
Yep.
So, is there any last words you would like to leave our listeners or viewers with at this point?
Yeah, I should probably say I also have a travel blog, so you can look for me at Misfit Wanders as well, misfitwanders.com. And then let's see, I want everyone to realize that this is a mantra that I used as I was healing. And I said, slow and steady wins the race. And the reason that this is so impactful for me is because I was a very hard worker back before my accident, where I worked like 12 to 14 hours a day. And having this
Yes.
accident happening and then finding out that I could only do an hour of work a day, that was heartbreaking. And
Mm,
I realized that I had to do it slow and I had to just keep at it and keep going, but being steady with it. So not overdoing it, because when I overdid it, I ended up having to be stuck in the bed for days.
mm,
So this is just something that I think we become so hard on ourselves when we're not capable like we used to be, or we compare our present self to our past self. And
mhm.
that's not helping anyone. That's not serving you. That's not going to make anything better when you do that. So you just have to accept where you're at and then just do as you can and tell yourself it's okay if you can't do more than that. So,
I love it. Those are very wise words. Well, thank you for joining us today. I hope you guys feel more connected to her as an author and to this book. Go get your copy of The Wandering Hearts, available on Amazon. Very soon will be available in paperback version with all the retailers, but go ahead and get your ebook download now. Have a great rest of your week, and I look forward to seeing you all soon.